Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So Rabia is not here yet. So let's continue with Ali Muhammad Zawar. Can you start explaining nasal cavity?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm here.
And I want to ask you to turn on your camera, please.
Okay, ma'am. I'm turning it on. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ali Muhammad Zawar. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I want to make some addition to Rabia. Rabia, you are
Yes,
hearing
ma'am.
me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope that you have downloaded the lecture or you have seen the lecture on the Moodle.
Yes.
And what about tasks? Have you made them?
Task, ma'am.
Yes. I wrote the task on the
I have
Moodle.
not. Yes, ma'am. I have not seen Moodle app, but my Moodle is and then
And
I forget the Moodle password app, so not open. Inshallah, today open.
today you must open and make some notes for yourself, okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
This is the main topics. This is the systems that you must really study for and
Okay,
study for
ma'am.
yourself.
Okay, ma'am. Which system, ma'am? Endocrine, respiratory?
Respiratory system.
Yes.
Respiratory system. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and for the next time, Rabia.
Yes, ma'am.
You prepared better, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So, Ali Muhammad Zawar, you can continue.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay, you have-
One confusion in timetable. I think so. Practice class today. Practice class is histology of endocrine system. So I prepare histology of endocrine system. Then now
No.
respiratory.
It's respiratory system. See again.
Okay, Rabia, I.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so I think
Yes,
so.
I understand you because the schedule may be
Okay,
changed.
ma'am.
Okay, but,
Okay,
for the next time, please. Okay, study
Okay,
and
ma'am.
prepare for yourself and be prepared better than today. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And Ali Muhammad Zawar, you can continue now from the
Nasal cavity.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Nasal cavity is a large air-filled space above and behind.
Turn on the camera, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and behind the nose, in the middle of the face. The nasal septum.
Don't disturb, please.
The nasal septum.
If you have questions, you can chat me. Okay. Chat. You can write the message here. You can write the message here. You can chat. Okay. Ali Muhammad Zawar.
Yes,
continue,
ma'am.
please.
The nasal septum divides the cavity into two cavities, also known as foci. Each cavity is a continuation of one of nostrils, one of two nostrils. The nasal cavity, the upper part of is the upper part of a respiratory system, and provides a nasal passage for inhaled air from nostrils to nasopharynx and rest of the respiratory system. The term nasal cavity can also refer to each of two cavities of nose or two sides combined. The lateral wall of each nasal cavity mainly consists of maxilla. However, it is efficiency that compensated by the perpendicular plate of palate plate.
Mhm.
The and medial pterygoid process or plate and labyrinth of ethmoid and inferior concha. The paranasal sinus are connected to the nasal cavity through small orifice called ostia, and most of ostia communicate with the nose through lateral nasal wall.
Mhm.
Nasal cavity has divided into two segments. One is a respiratory segment, and
Mhm.
other is a olfactory segment. The respiratory segment comprises most of the nasal cavity and lined with ciliated pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium, also known as respiratory epithelium. The
Mhm.
conchae and the or turbinates are located in this region. The turbinates have a very vascularized lamina propria, erectile, which is erectile tissues, allowing the
Mhm.
venous plexus for their mucosa to engorge with blood and restricting the airflow and causes air to be directed to the other side of nose, which act in concert by shunting blood out of the terminates. Like it pressurizes the blood and propels it out in the backward direction.
Mhm.
Thus, the cycle occurs approximately every 2.5 hours. The olfactory segment, this is the second segment of nasal cavity, is lined with specialized type of pseudostratified columnar epithelium known as olfactory epithelium, which contains receptors for the sense of smell, and this segment is located beneath the mucosa of a roof of each nasal cavity and medial plate of each medial turbinate. The histological section appears yellowish brown due to the presence
Mhm.
of lipofuscin segments. The olfactory mucosal cell types includes bipolar neurons,
Mhm.
sporting sustenticular cells, basal cells, and Bowman's glands. The axon
Mhm.
of bipolar neurons from the olfactory nerve, which is cranial nerve 1, which enters the brain through cerebral plate, cerebriform plate. Bowman's gland are serous glands in the lamina
Mhm.
propria, whose secretion trap and dissolve dangerous dangerous substances.
Mhm.
Uh, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can I? Mhm.
Uh-huh. So, well, Ali Muhammad Zawar, can you tell us from which resource you have written your notes?
Ma'am, I used Firdos and and वो क्या नाम था उसका? One
Because
minute,
you
ma'am.
explained,
Like Hussein.
Like
हाँ, like Hussein.
बड़ा
That,
मुश्किल
yes.
सवाल है.
so I hope that you all have these books, yes, because Ahmad Zagar, you had explained, I think really, how can I say, really exactly, really good information you bring us. And I want to share you with your maybe group mates from which resource, because it's important. Maybe others, maybe they are searching for the information from internet and so on. Maybe they don't have books. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question for you also. So you have tell about the epithelium of the respiratory, and can you repeat us which epithelium is covered? The respiratory region is covered by.
Yes, ma'am. Can you Repeat.
By which epithelium the respiratory region is covered by? You have you've explained us.
Yes, ma'am.
And please repeat one more time.
Yes, pseudostratified columnar epithelium cells with globlet cells also.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ali Muhammad Zawar. So, great. Thanks for your information, and I hope that you have drawn also the structure of lung and larynx, because I write in tasks that you must draw. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And great. The next student is Asmatullah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Asmatullah, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are continue by the larynx. So you can start explaining about larynx.
Okay, ma'am.
And I'm asking you to turn on your camera also.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, respiratory system consists of nasal cavities, paranasal air sinus.
So, I'm disturbing you now. You are continuing by larynx.
From larynx, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
And turn on your camera, please.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the respiratory system is composed of nasal cavities, paranasal air sinuses, nasopharynx, and larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchial tree, then alveolar sacs, then terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, and alveolar ducts. And ma'am, as you said, to continue from larynx, ma'am, laryngeal wall consists of mucosa, intrinsic muscles, and cartilages. The mucosa comprises it comprises epithelium and lamina propria. The lining epithelium varies in type of the epiglottis in different part of the larynx. The laryngeal inlet, most of the epiglottis, and the non-keratinized epithelium. Rest of the stratified squamous epithelium and non-keratinized epithelium. The rest of the larynx is lined by typical respiratory epithelium like pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium with goblet cells. And the lamina propria consists of fine connective cells. It consists of fine connective tissue. It contains scattered lymphatic nodules and many simple branch tubuloacinar glands of seromucous variety. The intrinsic muscles of the larynx are skeletal type, like the large laryngeal cartilage like cricoid, thyroid, and most of the they are of hyaline variety. And the smaller cartilage like epiglottis, and we can also include in that cuneiform and conic plate, and the tips of the atronoid cartilage is of elastic type. Then the epiglottis consists of plate of elastic tissue, elastic cartilage, which is covered on both sides by mucosa. Its anterior end, which is we also say lingual surface, it is, and the upper part of posterior laryngeal surface, they are covered by stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And the lower half of the posterior surface is covered by respiratory epithelium. And beneath the epithelium, it lies the lamina propria, which houses the tubuloacinar glands, and these glands are found mainly on the posterior surface. Whereas it also have irregular depressions on that, and scattered taste buds are also present between the epithelial cells and posterior surface of the epiglottis. This is about larynx, ma'am.
So so which no. Which cartilage in epiglottis you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Which cartilage in epiglottis we have? You said.
Ma'am, it is covered by both sides. Anterior it is covered by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And beneath the epithelium, it is lamina propria. And mainly, ma'am, we will say that there is stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium.
And what about cartilage and epiglottis? You have talked about this also.
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
which tissue, which cartilage we have in epiglottis?
Tissue or
Which cartilage we have in epiglottis? We talked about this also.
ma'am, the muscles, the intrinsic muscle of the larynx.
Elastic cartilage.
Yes, this is
Acha.
elastic cartilage.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next student, Muhammad sorry, Asmatullah. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
good. Then, so here is Ambaria. Yes, Chowdhury. Yes, GM13. So Asmatullah, you can start now. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Chowdhury Anwar. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Chaudhary Anwar.
So is he here? If not, we are continuing by Muhammad Shiraz Haidar. Muhammad Shiraz Haidar. Are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
here? So start or continue with the trachea
Okay, ma'am.
and turn on your camera.
Yes, ma'am. Hyderabad. Yes, sir. Ma'am, histology of trachea.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Trachea is made of three types of. The trachea is after the larynx wall is made of three layers. Mucosa is formed by the pseudostriated ligament pulmonary epithelium with the goblet cells and the underlying lamina. The second layer is submucosa, which is found deep to the mucosa, made up of loose connective tissues, continue mucous and serous gland, blood vessels. It contains blood vessels. There is a hyaline cartilage. Outer larynx is made of hyaline cartilage. Chondrocytes increases in size from periphery to center. They appear as isogenous groups surrounded by dark stained laryngeal matrix. Yes, ma'am.
So you are over?
No, ma'am.
Please continue.
Okay, ma'am. Trachea epithelium is pseudostriated columnar respiration cells. Ciliated all is there are cells present are goblet cells, frost cells, basal cells, and granulule cells, and secretory cells, calra cells, bronchiole cells, surplicated and lamina purpurea, elastic fabric, illuminated mast cells, and blood cells. Trachea has uh, submucosa, loose connective tissues, tracheal glands. There are tracheal glands and makes and blood vessels and conduct hair cartilage are smooth and cells seen in the respiratory passageway. Yes, yes, ma'am. These are the three layers explained of trachea, ma'am. Mucosa, submucosa, and
So how many layers we have in trachea?
yes, ma'am.
How many layers we have in trachea?
Three layers, ma'am. Mucosa,
You talk
submucosa,
about, and
and mucosa, submucosa, and ma'am,
So we have the cartilage, and this layer we call cartilaginous layer.
hard
Yes?
cartilage, line cartilage, ma'am.
And
Yes.
one more layer. This is the adventitia. Yes?
Which, ma'am?
Adventitia. Adventitia, you can call also.
Okay, okay.
So have we muscles in trachea?
Ma'am, what? Muscles of trachea.
No, we have muscles in trachea. This was a question. Have we muscles in trachea?
Ma'am, where trachea muscle, trachea, which muscle present?
So have we the muscles in trachea? You have explained about this, and I'm asking just have we muscles in trachea?
Smooth muscles, ma'am. Musculus trachealis.
So we have there the muscles, yes, in trachea.
Yes.
So we can call them trachealis muscle. Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Trachea. It also has a tracheal cartilage. Their tracheal cartilage is strong but flexible tissue. The tracheal cartilage helps support the trachea while still allowing it to move and flex during breathing. Yes.
Okay. Good, Muhammad Sharas, right there.
Okay, thanks,
So
ma'am.
you can stop now, and other student will continue. So I will tell. So Nofal Yusuf.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nofal Yusuf.
Yes, ma'am.
You are here, yes? Okay. So can you explain us about bronchus?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, after a trachea, we have the bronchial tree. The trachea divides into right and left principal primary bronchi. The primary bronchi give rise to lobular secondary bronchi, which enters the lung. 3 lobular bronchi arise from the right principal bronchus, whereas the left principal bronchus divides into 2 lobar bronchi. Each lobar bronchus divides further into segmental bronchi, which supply the bronchopulmonary segments. Within each bronchopulmonary segment, repeated divisions of bronchi occurs in a dichotomous manner. After about 10 to 20 generations of divisions, the diameter of the tube is reduced to approximately 1 millimeter, and now it is known as a bronchiole. Each bronchiole supplies a lung lobule, which is the basic unit of the lung. These lobules are pyramidal in shape with their apexes directed toward, are pyramidal in shape with their apexes directed toward the hilum of the lung. Each lobule is delimited by a thin connective tissue septum. There are 30 to 60 lobules in each bronchopulmonary segment. Within a lung lobule, each bronchiole branches further give rise to 5 to 7 terminal bronchioles. Each terminal bronchiole branches into 2 respiratory bronchioles, which divide further to give rise to alveolar ducts. These ducts lead into pulmonary arteria, which in turn open into alveolar sacs, which bear numerous pulmonary alveoli. Gaseous exchange between air and blood occurs from the level of the respiratory bronchioles to the alveolar sacs. Bronchus associated lymphatic tissue vault. The lamina propria of the trachea and bronchi contains lymphatic tissues in the form of small nodular aggregations of lymphocytes, or as diffusely separate T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes, and plasma cells. This lymphatic tissue, called bronchus-associated lymphatic tissue (BALT), serves to provide protection against bacteria that enter the respiratory tract and with the inspired air. Bronchi. The extrapulmonary bronchi resemble trachea in structure except for their smaller diameter. The intrapulmonary bronchi differ from the extrapulmonary bronchi in many aspects. The main differences are the intrapulmonary bronchi have a smaller diameter and have a rounded contour as compared to the larger caliber D-shaped contour of the extrapulmonary bronchi. Smooth muscle appears in the form of a complete layer in the intrapulmonary bronchi. The hyaline cartilage of the intrapulmonary bronchi is not present in the form of C-shaped rings, but occurs as irregular cartilaginous plates. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The notes that you have made really informative, and you have told about bronchies. Yes, and I have the one question for you also. So
Yes,
which glands we have in bronchies, in the intrapulmonary bronchies? Which glands we have in intrapulmonary bronchies?
Which glands, ma'am?
Yes.
Which glands? Wait a minute, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't remember. Sorry, ma'am.
So in intrapulmonary bronchi, we have seromucous glands. Okay.
Seromucous gland.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
But in general, the information was very good also. How do you so?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So then the next student, you can start right now. Okay. So the next student is Tayyaba Rashid.
Ma'am, I left
Yes,
from
ma'am.
GM13. Ma'am, Zishan is left from GM13.
Okay.
I also. Rahmatullah.
Name wise
Rahmatullah
name.
Okay.
Name wise आ रहे हैं यार.
Okay.
चुपकारे.
Then
कब से बैठा हूँ.
नाम चेंज कर ले.
GM13. Then Rabia answered yes. Okay. Ali Muhammad Zawar also answered yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Zishan from GM13 also, yes?
No, ma'am, I don't answer.
You are from GM13, yes?
Yes, ma'am, GM13.
So, okay, Zishan, you can continue with the respiratory bronchioles.
With the respiratory bronchioles, ma'am, respiratory bronchioles came into this zone of respiratory zone, not conducting zone. And this is the gas exchange area, because from the air spaces, when trachea divides into bronchi and eventually bronchi divides into bronchioles, many divisions, about 27 steps, 27 divisions came and alveoli are formed. Now this is the start of respiratory division of lung, which is actually the gas exchange. The lung consists of functionally respiratory units called air sacs or alveoli, single alveolus, each connected via bronchioles and bronchi to the trachea. The lung is sometimes misleadingly portrayed as a balloon at the end of a large bronchus. There is no balloon. One might imagine that each alveolus is a very tiny balloon. Each alveolus is a very tiny balloon, but even this is not accurate. The lung is more like a well-organized sponge. Each alveolus shares its wall intra-alveolar septum with adjacent alveoli. Alveoli cannot collapse individually, only altogether. Alveoli always have air, that is a residual volume in its air spaces. And when we move from trachea to bronchi and bronchioles and then eventually air spaces, alveoli, all the parameters, epithelium and cartilage, and these all parameters are decreases because alveoli are very thin walled. So amount of epithelium, amount of cartilage in the alveoli are very low as compared to bronchi and bronchioles. Alveoli are separated from one another the intraalveolar septum. Each alveolus is lined by simple squamous epithelium. If alveoli are thin to facilitate diffusion of gases, while still forming an epithelium barrier between outside air and the internal body fluids. Alveoli are very thin layer. Why it is thin layer? Because it have to exchange the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So this is the purpose why alveoli are thin. There are very little amount of simple squamous epithelium inside the alveoli, but this act as a barrier between outside air, body fluids and alveoli. And alveoli also are surrounded by alveolar capillaries and extraalveolar capillaries, which varies its resistance to the which varies its resistance in the pulmonary circulation. Alveoli have simple squamous epithelium. Alveoli also have capillaries, which are two types of capillaries, extraalveolar and intraalveolar. In other words, each intraalveolar septum consists of simple squamous epithelium on either side with the capillaries sandwich in between. Sandwich in between it means that alveolar capillaries are present and on the both sides of these capillaries we have alveoli. That the capillaries are sandwiched between two alveoli. Its clinical coordinates that alveoli can provide a cozy haven for bacterial growth, leading to pneumonia and inflammation. Alveoli and lungs are the best site for inflammation and best site for malignancies mutation. Alveoli can cause bacterial growth, leading to pneumonia and inflammation. That is, and squamous epithelium cell of alveoli are sometimes called type 1 pneumocytes. Squamous cells are called type 1 pneumocytes. As we know that squamous type 1 cells facilitate gas exchange. And alveoli also have type 2 pneumocytes scattered among the squamous cells. There are occasionally larger cuboidal cells. Squamous cells are, we have squamous cells and we also have cuboidal cells which are scattered in form, sometimes called greater alveolar cells. And these greater alveolar cells which are cuboidal in shape, they are called type 2 pneumocytes. And type 2 pneumocytes have a very important role in producing surfactants, which serve the critical function of keeping alveolar walls from striking to one another. They prevent the walls of alveoli to be collapsed.
Okay.
Ma'am, alveoli also have a large amount of macrophages in them, alveolar macrophages. Alveoli also have a macrophages. Alveoli to keep the alveoli clean. Amoeboid macrophages cells crawl over the surface of alveolar walls and ingest any foreign material that they encounter. These cells are called dust cells, and these are also called as alveolar macrophages. In this special, it also has a clinical correlance, but because when we smoke, in the smokers there are many types of carcinogens which enter into the lungs, and these carcinogens are phagocytosed by these macrophages, and in this process macrophages dies and carcinogen dies, which accumulate in our air sac, decreases the volume, decreases the surface area of conducting zone, which may lead into asthma and other respiratory problems.
Okay, great.
So yes,
Zishan,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
it was great explanation. And I have also one question for you. So we have the respiratory bronchioles in the epithelium. The cells, we call them bronchiolar exocrine cells. And the other name of the cells, please, can you tell us?
Bronchiolar
Bronchiolar exocrine cells, yes. They are also called?
exocrine. Ma'am, 1 second. Bronchiolar exocrine cells are also called. 1 second. Ma'am, these are club cells. These are called
Yes.
bronchiolar exocrine cells are also known as club cells.
Yes, they call.
And they are
cells
yes,
or Clara cells.
and they are formerly known as Clara cells.
Yes.
Very low. These are very low columnar and cuboidal cells.
Great. The answer was correct, Dishan. So great, you have prepared really good. So you can stop now. Thank you very much for your explanation. And the next student is from G13, who also participate here in from G13, GM13, and who I haven't asked for.
Rahmatullah, ma'am.
Rahmatullah, yes? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Rahmatullah, can you continue by the, so it was bronchioles. So can you explain us one more time about the alveolar, the respiratory portion about alveolar ducts?
Oh, okay, ma'am. The pulmonary alveoli are alveolar ducts, ma'am.
Yes, and can you turn on your camera?
Alveolar ducts, yes. Is it open, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The pulmonary alveoli are cup-shaped structure having a very thin wall through which gases exchange between the blood and air take place. And each pulmonary alveolus measures about 0.2 millimeter in diameter and opens either into a respiratory bronchiole or alveolar duct or an alveolar sac. Because the integrating arrangement and the tight packing, each alveolus does not have the completely separate wall. Rather, the adjacent alveoli are separated from each other by the interalveolar septus. And the pulmonary alveoli are lined by epithelial cells called pneumocytes. And these pneumocytes are of two types. Pneumotype 1 pneumocytes and other is second pneumocytes, and both varieties of the pneumocytes rest on the prominent basement membrane, and the type 1 pneumocytes also called type 1 alveolar cells or squamous alveolar cells. These are extremely thin and flat epithelial cells, and the simple squamous epithelium formed by these cells line very nearly around about 95% of the surface of each pulmonary alveolus. And the total thickness of type 1 pneumocytes is only 80 nanometer, except the central thicker region, where a flat, yes ma'am, where a flat nucleus is present. And the adjacent squamous alveolar cells are joined to each other by occluding junctions, which prevent the seepage of tissue fluid from the alveolar septa into the alveolar lumen. And the principal function of these cells is to provide the barrier of minimal thickness that permits gas exchange between the air and blood. And the type 1 pneumocytes cannot divide mitotically. And the type 2 pneumocytes, also called type 2 alveolar cells or great alveolar cells, are cuboidal cells that occur singly into the small groups. And although these cells make up of 60% of the pneumocytes and cover about 5% of the alveolar surface, Occluding junctions are also present between these cells, between type 1 and type 2 alveolar cells. Electron microscope reveals that the luminal surface of the type 2 pneumocytes bears short macrovilli. In addition to the nucleus and the usual cells organelles, the cytoplasm of type 2 pneumocytes contain secretory granules that exhibit stack of parallel membrane lamellae and are therefore called lamellar bodies. And the lamellar bodies do not stain well with ordinary stains. Consequently, the cytoplasm of great alveolar cells gives the characteristic vacuolated appearance under the light microscope. And the lamellar bodies have been found to contain a mixture of phospholipids, neutral lipids, and four types of unique proteins titled surfactant proteins A, B, C, and D. And this only material is secreted into the alveoli as a pulmonary surfactant, and it line the internal surface of alveoli in the form of thin layer. Presence of macrovilli on the free surface of alveoli form a thin layer, and the type 2 pneumocytes facilitate the release of surfactant by increasing the surface available for secretion. In addition to secreting the surfactant, the type 2 alveolar cell serve as stem cell for alveolar epithelium. They divide mitotically to regenerate themselves, as well as the type of one alveolar cell, as in when this epithelium is injured or ruptured, uh, these pneumocyte 2 redivide and differentiate into epithelial cells also and pneumocyte 1 cells.
Okay.
In yes, ma'am. The pulmonary surfactant which is present on this surface of inner lumen of alveoli, it is secreted by type 2 alveolar cells, serve as a stem cell for alveolar epithelium. It is the mixture of a phospholipid and protein which act like a detergent. It serves to reduce the surface tension, thus prevents the walls of pulmonary alveoli from collapsing and sticking together during expiration, thus facilitates alveolar expansion during inspiration. If this surfactant is not present, uh, this may cause collapsing of lungs, as it occur in the children respiratory distress syndromes. Not enough surfactant is present in that, so the lungs collapse and cannot expand properly. So it is important to know in the human fetus production of yes, surfactant is begin between the 24th week to 28th in the intra-urine life. By about 35 week, the lungs of the fetus are producing enough surfactant to prevent the alveoli from collapsing. And the premature babies born before 30 week of gestation have difficulty in breathing and have poor chances of survival unless they receive surfactant replacement therapy. And this underproduction of surfactant is called distress syndrome, respiratory distress syndrome in these fetus. Interalveolar septa, the adjacent pulmonary alveoli are separated from each other by partitions, which is called interalveolar septa. And each interalveolar septum consists of two squamous epithelial layers between which the blood capillaries are sandwiched. And these continuous capillaries have wide lumina and anastomose freely from an extensive network. And the meshes of the vascular network contain reticular and elastic fibers, mast cells, wandering leukocytes, and alveolar macrophages. Alveolar macrophages, which are also called dust cells, are derived from the blood monocytes and belong to the mononuclear phagocyte system, MPS, and they reside within the intra-alveolar septa, but they also migrate into the lumen of the pulmonary alveoli, and these alveolar macrophages maintain the sterile environment. within the lungs by engulfing the inhaled particulate matter like dust, carbon particles, pollens, as in spring seasons mostly, and in the bacteria also. In histological sections, the cytoplasm of these cells are usually seen to the laden with phagocytized carbon and dust particle. Also, so they are called dust cells. That's why, because they contain dust, phagocytosed dust or carbon.
Okay.
Haji,
They
And
also have
we've talked about mast cells. What about mast
pardon?
cells? About mast
Mast
cells.
cell. Yes, ma'am. The intravenous receptor not complete partition about mast cells. These are
Yes.
also present, ma'am, in the
And what doing these
septum.
mast cells?
Mast cells are also
What the function of the
mast
mast
cells
cell?
also help in against the function of mast cells. They also help in inflammation. Inflammation when injury is occurred in the alveoli, the neutrophils comes, and also these phagocytized and mast cells help in can cause inflammation in this area, and rupture of the alveolar membrane can occur after this inflammatory process, which is started by macrophages by releasing interleukin 1, interleukin 8, and also tumor necrotic factors released mainly in the clinical situation, which is called acute respiratory distress syndrome,
So the mast
in
cells
which
are they play role in inflammation response. Yes.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Inflammatory response. And what they normally contain? These cells contain heparin, histamine, serine proteases.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Eosinophil
Histamine, which also
and
called induction of
neutrophil
inflammation.
chemotaxis factors, cytokines. Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
So, rahmatullah. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
And I hope that you have notes. You did notes on your notebook. Yes. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that you have wrote all about this, all about the explanation that you made. You have made notes on your notebook. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. We have. I have. I think my book is here.
Okay. You can stop now. Very good. So the next student is Kamran Afridi from GM13.
He is not present, ma'am.
She's not. Yes, she's not present. Okay, then from GM13, are there any students that left from GM13 who I didn't ask?
Nobody left who are present.
Okay, GM13, excellent. The presence of the students from GM13 is really good. So from GM12, we have also students. So welcome guys from GM12, some of the students. But now we will have a break time for 10 minutes, and after we will meet again, okay?
Okay.
So you can go now into the break, and after 10 minutes we will meet again, and we will discuss about the quiz questions.
Okay, ma'am. Now it is a break for 10 minutes.
Yes, it's a break for 10 minutes.
Abu putor break chasto. Tore was do break jere or sunai betan.
So after 10 minutes, it means in 13. Okay, after 10 minutes, guys. So go.
Okay, man. यार अगर हम दोबारा ना वापिस आ सकें तो कोई मसला तो नहीं?
पता नहीं यार। हम तो वैसे ही लेटे हुए हैं, सुन रहे हैं। आपको भी
हाजी
सुना,
एक बात
सबको
बता,
सुना।
तेरी वीडियो इतनी हिल क्यों रही थी? कहीं डांसिंग कार
तो
में
भाई
तो बैठा
बुक
था?
से तो भाई बुक से पढ़ रहे थे, बुक से तो हिलनी तो थी फिर।
लाइक से नहीं ला रहा था इससे कोई।
ओ भाई
यार
ये तो होगा।
थैंक यू, बट थैंक्स टू
थैंक
लाइक
यू कह
हुसैन।
रहा, थैंक यू भाई, कह रहे थैंक यू।
ठीक
नारे भी
है,
लगा रहा था, लाइक हुसैन जिंदाबाद।
इस तरह तो होता है इस तरह के कामों में भाई।
यार इस तरह की मैडम ठीक होती हैं। गुलजान जैसी मैडम हो स्यापा डाल के रखा होता है उसने।
गुलजान छोड़, वो
नहीं
एक और जो सर हैं
वो
एलमान,
सर हैं वो,
ओ
लेकिन वो भी
भाई
ठीक है। वो उसको भी टॉपिक करा दी थी उस दिन। ठीक है।
तो यार कुछ
लेकिन
नहीं
वो
कहता,
बड़ा
बहुत इजी है यार।
निगाह
पढ़ते रहो, बस पढ़ते रहो, जहां से दिल करे पढ़ते रहो।
निगाह उसकी बड़ी तेज उस्तादगी है।
यार रहमत, यार वो रशिया का काम जमा कराना है, उसकी डेट खत्म हो गई है। 31 थी डेट 2 टास्क की।
यार कुछ नहीं होता, कुछ नहीं, क्यों टेंशन ले
अल्लाह
रहे हो? 2
अल्लाह
सेमेस्टर
मार।
ऑनलाइन देख नहीं लिया?
यार इस दफा इन्होंने ट्रांसक्रिप्ट के लिए रूले डाल देने हैं। कोई भी सब्जेक्ट इन्होंने रोक लिया ना, कोई सा भी, तो ठुक जाना है हमने।
कुछ नहीं, 5 नंबर सारे हैं इस असाइनमेंट से।
यार वो भी मैडम जब हमें देख ले तब वो कहती है चलो शुरू हो जाओ। पूरा 2 घंटे सुनाते पढ़ाती है रशीन यार। ऐसा तो नहीं होता भाई।
मैं तो किसी लेक्चर में भी नहीं पहुंचा उसके। 7
तो
बजे
तेरे
उठा नहीं
नए
जाता है भाई।
मुकाबले तू कटिंग करा तुझे हो जाएगी।
ये
अभी कटिंग की जरूरत है?
यार ये देखो, अभी देखो, अभी तीनों जो है ना सर पे फिर उस तरह फिर होते हैं। ईशान भी, तू भी साथ आ जा, मैं भी, और ये
अच्छा
दोबारा नौफल
अच्छा।
दोबारा।
यार मैंने तो करवा रखी है, मुझे तो
छः छः 6 इंच बाल बढ़ेगी, हमें उस तरह फरवा दूँ। बहुत अच्छा। बाद में 6
मैं
महीने अपने आप को शीशे में ना देखूं।
अबे
मैं तो
यार क्या
वीडियो नहीं
देखो,
करता।
तुम कोई सेल्फ
मैं नहीं
कॉन्फिडेंट पर्सन ही
वीडियो
नहीं
नहीं
हो यार।
करता।
जाओ यार, कोई यार।
ब्रो डोंट
ऐसा
फोकस ऑन इंचेस, डोंट फोकस, ओनली फोकस ऑन योर हेड।
सही है भाई, ठीक है।
ओके,
और
ठीक है
तो
हाजी के
फिर
ऊपर
गंजे हो रहे हैं ना
कॉपीराइट का
सब?
पड़ेगा।
यार मुझे 4 साल ठहर जो, मैंने वैसी टिड करा लेनी है परमानेंट।
भाई 4th
तूने
ईयर
क्या
में ना,
करानी है?
खुद ही हो
तुझसे
जानी है।
बाल झड़ जाने हैं तेरे।
4th ईयर में
टेंशन
ना
ही
मैंने
बड़ी।
बहुत बड़े बाल रखने हैं, तुम लोगों ने देखना है अगर बचे तो।
मेरा यही मूड
हाजी
है।
लाइक हुसैन को दिखाए थे?
वो यार लाइक हुसैन जो है ना, वो नहीं, आज नहीं दिखा है। बहरहाल
अल्लाह कहाँ
चस
गया
है
है?
यार, सुबह सुबह टेंड हो ना, सुबह सुबह जाओ नमाज के बाद बाहर खेतों में, इतनी ठंडी हवा लगती है कमाल की कसम से।
सारे
चस
हेमिस्फेयर
आगे
खुल
क्या
हाजी
नहीं?
जाते
जिन
हैं।
पकड़ लेंगे, ख्याल करें।
सारे हेमिस्फेयर खुल जाते हैं।
हाँ, हवा हवा पूछती है चस आगे के नहीं।
भाईजान वो आपका है, वो डीजी हाँ का एरिया। आप यहाँ लाहौर में फजर के बाद भी आओगे ना, आपको दुआई पढ़ना है।
आजकल तो कुछ नहीं पड़ता होगा, बाहर भी नहीं निकलने देता, मैंने सुना है लॉकडाउन है।
6 बजे के बाद चपेरे मारती हैं यार।
यार ये 6 बजे उठती है क्या वहां
कुकड़ भी
लाहौर में
बनवाते
कोरोना?
हैं, कुकड़।
नहीं, कुकर में अभी तक नहीं बनवाया है। मैंने कल देखा था वो छिलड़ कर रहे थे सामने, मैं वहां से मुड़ गया वापस। मैं कहा बस अब मैं चलता हूँ। ठीक है भाई, अब मैं चलता हूँ। आगे गया ही नहीं यार। इन्होंने भाई ये मार्केट टाइम कम किया हुआ है, क्योंकि प्रॉपर लॉकडाउन लगा नहीं सकते अब मुकम्मल। तो 6 बजे के बाद जो कोरोना हो रहा है उसको रोक रहे हैं।
मुझे तो लगता है ये वैक्सीन की वजह से हुआ है यार। पहले जब से वैक्सीन लगना शुरू हो हुई है,
यार
तबाही हुई।
वैक्सीन, अभी तक वैक्सीन का पता ही नहीं कि ये ठीक है भी कि नहीं।
वजीर आजम को लगा दी उन्होंने, वो दूसरे दिन पॉजिटिव आ गए।
वो फेक है।
फेक क्यों है भाई, ऐसे ही तो हुआ है।
ओ भाई, उसने उस अदालत से पेशी से बचने के लिए सारा सीन किया, क्या पता यार तुझे।
इमरान खान ने
कोई वो-
हाँ जी,
कौन
उसकी
सी
पेशी
थी?
थी अदालत के अंदर
ये पटवारी पे
तकरीबन
नहीं?
मेरे ख्याल से 21 मार्च को थी कि पता नहीं 21 को थी या 22
भाई
को थी।
कौन से केस में थी, कौन से केस में थी ये बता।
नौफल वाला केस।
अच्छा वो बहुत
वो
सख्त है
केस
यार,
ऐसा।
उसमें तो फिर कोरोना क्या बंदे को,
स्पीचलेस ब्रो, स्पीचलेस।
यार
उस पे तो यार
मरियम,
HIV का केस बनता है फिर।
हाँ जी सर जी,
नहीं
वही
यार, मुझे
केस
केस
ऐसा।
का नहीं पता वो क्या सीन है, मुझे इतना पता था कि कोई अदालत में था, कोई पेशी थी किसी सीन के अंदर।
ये मुझे नून ली की बुआ आ रही है वैसे।
नहीं नहीं,
नहीं नहीं, ये पक्का है,
मैं
ये
तो
पक्का
इमरान खान का
यूथिया है।
सपोर्टर था, लेकिन अब
हाँ हाँ हाँ, ये
हालात
तो
अब
इमरान खान का है।
हालात बदलते हुए दिखाई दे रहे हैं।
सही।
कुछ नहीं होगा।
मरियम मरियम नवाज नहीं कह रही, उसको थोड़ा सा मसला है गोइटर का, तो कहती है मेरी ऑपरेशन होगा और पाकिस्तान से नहीं हो सकता बाहर जाना।
ओ भाई,
अबे बस
ओ भाई मुझे
यार,
मारो।
मारो मुझे मारो।
ये इनडायरेक्टली हमारी
और-
बेइज्जती हो रही है, समझ रहे
हाँ
हो ना?
जी, और हाँ जी, और इन्होंने लिस्टें लगा दी हैं, लिस्ट ए से पढ़ के आओ। सालों आपके अपने क्या कर रहे हैं किंग एडवर्ड के।
हाँ।
यार आप कैसी बातें कर रहे हो भाई?
अस्तगफिरुल्लाह, ये भी आ
यार
गया।
आप
हाजी
जाग
आ
रहे हो?
गई है। हाय हाय
हाजी
हाजी, तेरी
जागते पे
आवाज सुन
हैं?
गिनो आग कर दे।
आदमी बंदा पड़ा यार,
हाजी
अगर ये
डॉलर्स,
कोरोना
डॉलर्स में बात होगी हाजी, डॉलर्स में।
डॉलर्स में
डॉलर
बात हो
बड़ा,
रही है, डॉलर्स में नीचे आ रहे हैं भाईजान।
डॉलर बहुत नीचे आ रहा है।
53 पे आया हुआ
152
था।
पे आ गया, मैंने सुना है।
52 पे आ गया।
आज मैंने चेक किया
52 पे आ गया
152 पे।
52
एक
पे।
सुना है 40 तक जाएगा।
वाह भाई वाह, फिर तो मजे हैं।
स्टॉक कर लो हैं।
देखो
स्टॉक करके फिर ऊपर लाइयो।
भाई, मेरे को पता भी तो नहीं है ना कि स्टॉक करें पे नीचे आ जाए, लेकिन आपकी फीस भी तो भरनी है यूनिवर्सिटी की, वो उस तरह का फिर।
नहीं लले, अब ये नीचे आएगा क्योंकि ये इन्होंने स्टेट बैंक कर दिया IMF के हवाले, और ये जिन्होंने
और क्या?
वो डॉलर स्टॉक किए थे ना, उनको अब पकड़ रहे हैं, उनकी ठुक रही है।
ऐसा
स्टेट
ही है।
बैंक शायद वापस आ जाए कि पता नहीं है।
और जो एक बार चला जाता
जब
है
तक
पाकिस्तान
कोरोना
से
का
वापस
सीन है
नहीं
ना,
आता।
नहीं नहीं, जब तक कोरोना का सीन है, जब तक तो उधर ही रहता है, जब तक नहीं
तब
आता।
तक तो
क्यों
उधर ही
दी,
रहता है।
क्यों है, किस लिए दी है भाई IMF स्टेट बैंक?
गिरवी रखाई है, गिरवी।
भाईजान आपने कर्जे नहीं लेने उनसे।
कर्जे
आपके
लिए हैं इसलिए
कोई
उन्होंने
नहीं
गिरवी
लेता।
ली है।
वही ना, आपके पास क्या एसेट है, उसके अलावा कुछ भी एसेट नहीं है आपके पास। आपने
बस
अपना FBI
पाकिस्तान खत्म
FBI
है।
उनको दे दिया है, सारे बरेदारे
मतलब
उनके पास
पाकिस्तान
है भाई।
आन करीब चाह वैसे पाकिस्तान को पाट वैसे सागु डेंजल से नहीं।
हाँ जी
तो आपको
भाईजान,
जाने लगे संजय जी।
कुछ और करो तो कितने और जाके लाइसेंसिंग एग्जाम दो, पाकिस्तान से ना दो।
ना बस साइट सीने तो गोली कॉल को आवन तो सही है गो।
हाँ जी, सुनाओ वाल। करंट चेंज करनी यूनिवर्सिटी।
ओए लल्ले पहुंच गया सामान,
नहीं यार, अभी लाहौर ही पड़ा है।
फील हो रही है।
कल कल आना है। अब भाई तुम लोग आ
हाजी
जाओ, सारे मुल्तान आ जाओ या हम लाहौर आ जाते हैं।
यार मुल्तान का बनाओ प्रोग्राम किसी दिन यार, यहाँ से
निशान को मुल्तान दिखाते हैं।
चिंची रश्के बंद हो गए, नहीं तो मैंने आ जाना था यार।
तू तो जहाजों पे बैठ के आ जाता है।
हाजी रहमतुल्लाह तो कह रहा है
नहीं
दिल्ली
भाई,
खान से निकलता नहीं है, वहां पता नहीं क्या पसंद आया हुआ है इसको।
डीजी खान जिंदाबाद।
जी हाँ भाई, एक तो टेंड कराई है उसने, ऊपर से ठंडी हवा लेता है।
हाजी
और
टेंड
क्या
कराई, इसकी खाई
चाहिए।
गया नहीं मैं।
हाजी तय दवा नहीं भेजा, मैं टेंट करा
दवा
के
मैं
दिए।
क्या व्हाट्सएप करा?
हाँ वही हाजी डॉलर जिद्दी वजह वाला बांस दा चक्कर लवे
डॉलर
सा।
नहीं चाहते, जेडी डॉलर दी वैल्यू मेरे को नहीं चाहिए।
ये तो आपका एसेट है पड़ा हुआ है।
कोई मसला नहीं है, हम आपको इस्तेमाल करवाएंगे, आपकी जहाँ सोच नहीं जाती वहाँ हम इस्तेमाल करवा लेंगे।
वहाँ वो
आपको
आ
जाएगा।
तो जाओ
इस्तेमाल
ना,
करवाएंगे।
आप आ जाओ ना भाई,
नहीं भाई, मैं नहीं आता।
कर लेंगे 50-100 ऊपर,
मैंने
आ
तौबा
जाओ।
कर ली है भाई।
यार यार आने का क्या फायदा, गन्नों की फसल तो कट गई है।
यार इधर इसको मैंने एक ऐसी फसल दिखाई हो जो 12 महीने तैयार रहती है।
ठीक है, ये भी सही है।
बांस बांस की फसल है, बांस की।
यार वो बस व्यू प्यारा था।
ओए ना ओए, ओए नहीं जाना मत, बांस है।
उत्ते 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 वड्डे वड्डे दा मूड
नहीं।
खराब हो जाता है।
भाई मैं नहीं कर रहा, तो परेशान नहीं इंसान।
गन्ने
पहली
तक
बार
भी
में
बांस
गलती से
बजाती
चल
थी।
गया था।
निशान ये है, ये है लेकिन 3 गार्ड साथ थे इसके।
हाँ भाई चलो अब
ओ
पकड़ के
भाई,
रखने हाथ वगैरह।
आपको पता है सिविक वाले लौंडे पे वैसे लोग पीछे होते हैं, रहमतुल्लाह, आपको आपको बेहतर पता है भाई।
वहाँ तो सही ना,
भाईजान
3
बात
गार्ड
सुनना,
साथ लगता है मेरे।
रहमत सिविक वाले लोंडे के पीछे 3 होते हैं, याद रखी।
हाँ बस।
ठीक होते हैं लेकिन वो
या,
जेंडर चेंज है ना, आप ठीक खान वाली बात
यार
कर रहे
हम तो
ये-
इजाफा करने वाले लोग हैं, हम तो
ये
3
किसने
से 4
स्क्रीनशॉट
कर
की?
देंगे बस।
हो। मैम ने शेयर की है या हमारी छुट्टी नहीं होगी?
नहीं, स्क्रीन शेयर शो ही नहीं हो रहा, किसने किया? अच्छा,
मैडम
मैम का ही
ने
नाम लिखा हुआ, मैम का नाम है, अब आ रही है।
और
हमें
कोई
छुट्टी
नहीं
नहीं
कर
होगी?
सकता, सिर्फ
We
होस्ट कर
are
सकता है।
back. I hope that you have a good conversation between each other.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so we are starting now from by the quiz questions, and there were students from GM12 and Tayabar Shrik from GM12.
Yes, ma'am.
You are here, and can you start from the question number 1?
What this is a picture of?
Yes.
What is this a picture of? It may be a picture in the nasal cavity.
Why do you think so? What you can see here?
Because we have glands here.
Sorry, one more time. What we have here?
We have glands, 2 types of glands. The sebaceous and the sweat glands.
And okay.
And we have and epithelium. Again, we have epithelium, the respiratory epithelium. Yeah.
Okay, I heard your answer. And what about other students? What do you think? Have you any other options? What do you think? Guys, what this is a picture of?
And maybe tissue.
Maybe ma'am, lung tissues, alveolar duct, pulmonary artery, alveolar sacs, pulmonary alveoli, lung tissues.
One more. Tell me what more options. Okay, other students, what do you think?
Ma'am, is this alveolus, ma'am? Showing alveoli, air, capillary, and
Yes,
maybe
pulmonary alveoli.
type 1 cell, type 2 cells, maybe.
And others?
Okay.
Others? Have you any options? What can you tell about this picture? Okay. There.
Larynx.
It was Muhammad Shiraz Haider.
Yes.
Yes, it is a picture of larynx. Because what you can see here, Muhammad.
Vocal cord muscle, thyroid, cartilage, respiratory epithelium, and stator squamous epithelium.
So the main thing here in picture by which we can understand that this is a larynx. So we have here a laryngeal ventricle, yes? So I want to show the picture.
That was confusing.
So I want to show the picture of.
Haji, like Hussain se madad lena.
वो किताब वालियों खोलो किताबा.
So look at this. This is a laryngeal ventricle, and they take place the false vocal cords. And if you look at the picture, we can see here the laryngeal ventricle, and so we can say that this is the picture of larynx. Okay. Okay. Tayaba Rashid, I have one more question for you. So can you read the question number 3 and try to answer?
What type of epithelium
Mm-hmm.
lines the trachea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the trachea, we have pseudostratified ciliated columnar, pseudostratified.
Epithelium, yes. Uh-huh.
It's
Tayaba
E.
Rashid,
It's E.
option E, it's correct answer. One more question for you. Question number 4. Can you read this?
What structure is similar to a bunch of grapes?
Mm-hmm.
That is alveolar sac.
Yes, it's the right answer.
Thank God.
Mm-hmm. So Tayaba Rashid, good.
Thank you.
The other student from GM12. So GM12, Noman Shahzad. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
So question number 5.
Which rule does not gas exchange occur?
Excuse me, ma'am. Hello.
GM12.
Ma'am, can you repeat the answer of question number 3? MCQ number 3.
Question number 3 was what type of epithelium lines of the in the trachea? Lines the trachea. It was the option E.
Option number E. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Omar Nadim, you are also a GM12, yes. And there was a student. So wait, Noman Shahzad, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Question number 5.
In which structure gas it does not exchange? Ma'am, respiratory bronchiole, ma'am.
In which structure does gas exchange not occur? You think that this is a respiratory bronchiole, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about other students? What they think?
Terminal bronchiole.
Yes.
Tayaba Rashid, you are correct. Your answer is correct.
Yes.
So, Noman Shahzad, the answer is?
Terminal bronchioles.
Okay. The next question, please. Read the question number 6. Noman Shahzad.
Which of the following is the smallest part of bronchi?
Bronch.
Noman Shahzad.
Yes, ma'am. Wait a moment. Bronchiole. Ma'am, bronchi, ma'am.
Bronchioles, ma'am. Number 8.
Yes. The smallest part of the bronchiolar tree is the bronchioles.
ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕੋ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣ ਦਿਓ
ਭਰਾਵਾ ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਦੱਸ
Noman Shahzad.
Yes, ma'am.
So please read the next question.
What is the first portion of respiratory trees where
No.
gases?
Question number 7.
What does of tissue form the alveoli in lungs?
What type of tissue forms the alveoli in the lung? What do you think?
But,
May I, ma'am?
Numan
Ma'am, A
Shahzad?
option.
It's simple squamous epithelium.
It's D.
It's
Now answering
No,
Numan
no, it's
Shahzad.
A.
A.
A
ma'am.
was squamous epithelium.
Numan Shahzad?
Yes, ma'am.
Answer-
Simple squamous epithelium.
Okay. Mhm. So read the question number 8.
First portion of respiratory arteries. And what is the first portion of respiratory gases?
Wait, please. Can you read the question number 7 and answer and the answer?
Ma'am, question number 7. What type of tissue form alveoli in lungs? Ma'am, simple squamous
Alveoli.
epithelium, ma'am.
Can you remember? Can you remember this? I think that you have kept it in your mind, yes? So in the tissue of alveoli in the lung is simple squamous
Yes.
epithelium.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Alveolar calyx.
Okay. The next question, Numan Shahzad.
What is the first portion of respiratory variegation? Ma'am, alveolar ducts and serves as basic unit of respiratory system. Alveolar ducts, ma'am.
Respiratory bronchiole.
Yes. The answer is respiratory bronchiole.
Yeah.
Okay. Numan Shahzad.
Yes, ma'am.
Repeat the topic again. And study the topic. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Manzoor Hussain, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Please read the number, the question number 9.
What types of epithelium is found in the respiratory mucosa of man? Ma'am, B option, ciliated pseudocystified.
The answer is correct. Okay. So the next question, question number 10.
What type of cells are found in the olfactory mucosa? Is all of above.
Yes. Okay, great. The next question, question number 11.
What is an olfactory cell?
Bipolar.
Now answer. Sorry, guys. Don't disturb. Now answering only Manzoor Hussain.
Yes. Bipolar neuron.
Yes. So then one more question. Okay. Question number 12.
In which of the following are the goblet cell are most frequent? Trachea.
The answer is correct. Good, Manzoor Hussain. So from GM12, we have also Umer Nadim. Are you here, Umer Nadim?
Yes, ma'am.
Umer Nadim, please read the question number 13.
Okay, alveoli type 1 cells are it's squamous cell, ma'am, and involved in gaseous change.
Correct. The next question. Read the next question.
Okay, which cell is a type of neuron? It's olfactory cells, I think.
Also correct. Question number 16.
Which cell is found in large number in the terminal bronchioles? Terminal bronchioles. Type 1. Dust cell, I think.
And others who have the other answer?
Blood cells and
cell.
the Clara cells. Clara cell.
Yes, the answer is Clara cell, okay? So dust cells, they function like a macrophage, but in large amount in the terminal bronchioles, they're found Clara cells, okay?
Okay.
So Omer Nadim from GM12, yes. And do we have here other students from GM12 who I didn't ask for? No, I think no, yes. Okay, then Omer Nadim, please, the last question.
Yes. Which cells create surfactant is type 2 pneumonocytes.
Okay. So you are right. And so here was student Rahmatullah. Rahmatullah, are you here? Rahmatullah from GM13.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read the question number 2?
What structures are shown here and what organs are they found in?
What can you see here? Okay, then Numan Shahzad, what do you think?
Ma'am,
Pulmonary
maybe this
alveoli,
is
ma'am.
structure of
These.
trachea and alveoli.
Now
Ma'am.
answering
Structure. Pulmonary alveoli and
who wants
respiratory
to
bronchioles.
who wants to answer Rahmatullah or Numan Shahzad?
Yes, ma'am. Pulmonary alveoli also.
Yes. Bronchial
Pulmonary
respiratory.
ducts. Yes, ma'am. We are present.
And what else we can see here?
Ma'am, this is a section of lung tissue showing respiratory bronchiole and pulmonary alveoli.
And also we have here, what is this structure of?
These pulmonary ducts, arteries, ma'am.
Yes,
Capillaries.
This is a blood cell.
Capillaries.
Yes, guys. This is a blood cell.
Network of blood capillaries.
Okay, so this is a similar picture, and you can see here the blood vessels, yes, and the bronchiole, alveolar ducts, and capillaries and alveolus. Yes, guys, you are right. You are correct. Your answer is correct. Okay, guys, then
yes,
GM13 and GM12. So, guys, what can I say? You have prepared, yes, and I hope that you have made notes. Maybe some of you maybe read from the monitor or from the internet, maybe, but I'm not proper, okay? And I think that you have studied for yourself and did your best to answer the questions to explain the topic of respiratory system. And the answers of from the quiz also were like, yes, guys, some of you maybe don't know the answer, but some of you are really prepared and know the answers really good. So study for yourself the topic also, and my lessons, I will in my lessons I will try to do some quizzes, because maybe in the future you can like, oh, this question was on our practice class. Yes, maybe when you will write USMLE tests and other tests from your country maybe. So guys, prepare for this topic for yourself also, and till the next time. The groups were really good. The participants were really good.
Will there be next class for this histology of respiratory system?
Sorry?
Will there be more classes for histology of respiratory system, or only one this?
I don't think so, because the next practice class will be the other system. I think that for you it will be endocrine system or digestive system.
Yes, ma'am, it's today. Last
Okay.
lecture.
And ma'am, what about our remarks?
What about what?
Our remarks today for today practice class. Our marks.
Marks. Okay, I give you good marks, guys. You will see. I think at the end of the semester, I can say. But I gave you good marks, guys. Don't be. What can I say?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
See you guys till next time. Take care and study.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good
Goodbye.
day.
Thank you, ma'am.
ये पहला लेक्चर है यार जो
You're
पूरा
welcome.
टाइम हुआ है.
जीशान एक्सेंट चेंज कर.
अच्छा सारी गिनी है.
एक्सेंट चेंज कर ब्रो, अच्छा रहेगा.
थैंक यू वेरी मच मैम.
जी सर मैं भी मुंह में थूक रख के बात किया करूं.
So guys, do you need time for a conversation, or I can end?
No, ma'am, don't
No,
end.
ma'am, you can end.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Dasvidaniya.
Have a good day.
जिशान, पान रख के बात किया करो, पान रख.
करते हैं अगली क्लास में करते हैं.
I'm ending now.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
वो खुद लीव कर गई.
हाजी बता गए हाजी.
हाजी की
जिशान ये क्या था? ओए जिशान ये क्या था?
क्या?
यार कुछ तो ख्याल कर.
किसका ख्याल?
यार क्या एक्सेंट लगे हो यार, क्या कर रहे हो? शर्म करो यार.
हमें पता यार हमें पता है तू अंग्रेज है, लेकिन तू एक्सेंट चेंज करना पड़ा.
हाँ.
अच्छा यार मैं करता हूँ, करते हैं कुछ इसका.
हाँ यार तू यार एक्सेंट चेंज कर प्लीज यार.
मेडिसिन लेके आते हैं इसकी भी.
वो मेरे पास है ना वो.
इस बवासीर का इलाज नहीं है.
साइड इफेक्ट भी नहीं है उसके. बिल्कुल नेचुरल है.
तो क्या चाहता है, पेशेंट को बीजी खान लेकर आए या मेडिसिन को उस पेशेंट के पास लेके जाए?
ये पेशेंट पे डिपेंड करता है वो किस तरह का रिस्पांस देता है.
ओ भाई, आओ क्लास एंड हुई है, शराज गेम पे बुला रहे, कहता आजा गेम पे.
अच्छा उस जो है ना, अगर पेशेंट के पास खुद की जगह है तो फिर उधर कुछ ना कुछ इलाज करेंगे, वरना उसे यहाँ आना पड़ेगा.
हाँ जी, पूरा
ये जो शिराज है,
इलाज के लिए
ये तबखीर का मरीज है पड़ा.
किसका
तबखीर हो क्या होती है
यार? इससे बहुत जल्दी गुस्सा आ जाता है, मतलब कोई भी बात करो ऐसे फजूल में शुरू हो जाते हैं.
ये
कुछ नहीं यार, वो नेचर है उसकी.
होती है किसी की
नहीं, मेरे साथ तो नहीं हुआ. वैसे ग्रुप में जनरली बात करूं कि जैसे तबखीर के मरीज होते हैं ना, कोई बात करो ना करो अगला बंदा भड़क उठता है.
भाई वो ना अपने आप को अगला प्राइम मिनिस्टर समझते हैं पाकिस्तान का, तो वो ऐसे ही एक्सेंट बना रहा है, समझ रहे हैं ना?
समझ
एक्सेंट ये आजकल एक्सेंट का ना बवासीर चली है काफी लोगों में.
यार जवान कौन है?
कोई पावरी कर रहे होते हैं तो कोई ऐसे हो रहे होते हैं तफसीर वाले, क्या जो भी है.
तब खीर ओए
एक्सेंट चेक कर यार, तू छोड़ एक्सेंट चेक कर बस।
जवान हूँ, गर्मी खा जाता है इसीलिए।
गर्मी भी निकल रही होगी, इस तरह तो नहीं होता ना फिर।
ये तो होगा। हाँ जी अली भाई आप सुनाओ यार, बिस्किट कैसा है?
7 मिनट
बिस्किट
बाद अगली
यार।
क्लास भी है।
कुछ नहीं
लेक्चर
होता,
है
वो तो
स्नोफॉल हुई है।
वही बहन की सीढ़ी, मेरी बैटरी खत्म हो गई है, लाइट गई हुई है।
तो
तू
आज
गली में
चार्ज
खड़े
कर
होके
ले।
लेक्चर लेगा तो यही होगा ना।
अब खुल के
यार
बात
वो
करो।
नीचे भी वीडियो नहीं ऑन होनी थी।
अच्छा अब तो
अब खुल के बात करो।
आप खुल के बात कर सकते हो, एक्सेंट
हाँ
बात
जी।
यार।
ओए हाँ तू की एक्सेंट लगे, क्या मसला है?
कोई कॉपी तो करके बताए, कैसे कैसे कॉपी तो कर।
क्या करूं एक्सेंट में, कैसे चेंज करूं, क्या चेंजिंग लाऊं?
भाई
थूक ले
वो
मुंह में।
ऐसे लड़की वो केला खा गई होगी।
बस अब तू पहुंच जाए।
करते हैं
डेज ऑफ
कुछ यार।
फेयरविंग्स।
ओ यार वो
तुझे
वो
पता है अगले पीएसएल में कमेंटेटर बन रही है वो।
किलियम
ट्रेकिया में एच होता नहीं, इसने 3 एच डाले हैं, ट्रेकिया। बताओ
भाई यही तो एक्सेंट है अपना।
अच्छा दुआ
सर
करो
यही
एज
बात है ना,
रहेगा।
फिर नौफल
ओए
बैठा
ऑनलाइन
पागल हो जाता है, नौफल बैठा
ऑनलाइन
पागल हो जाता
कट्ठे
है ऐसी
क्लास
बात।
है, दुआ करो
एक वो मैम गुलजान है जिनका एक्सेंट मुझे ठीक नहीं लगता।
आओ ना, नौफल
एक आज ये
बैठा पागल हो जाता है, बाद में साबुन ठोक देता जाके।
ब्रो
ए दुआ करो ए
सही सही
जरा ना
बातें करो।
ऑनलाइन क्लास है, ऑफलाइन क्लास से इकट्ठे बैठो सर खेल पोसो जलाई वाला सर।
ये सेमेस्टर तो ऑनलाइन ही है, पावे अगला भी सेमेस्टर ऑनलाइन हो जाए।
ओ
अगला नहीं फिर
अगले
भी
अगले में तो तितर बितर होना है
यार
हाँ,
ये सिर्फ हमें हमारे लिए इन्होंने ऑनलाइन रखा हुआ है जो 3rd सेम तक के पढ़े, बाकी सब ऑफलाइन पढ़ा रहे हैं। हमारी यूनि वाले नहीं, आईएच यूके वाले, उनका क्या
यार
इशू है यार? मतलब
वो
प्रॉब्लम है ना।
अली, वो जो
हाँ?
बच्चे वहां पर है ना उनको ऑफलाइन पढ़ा रहे हैं बस, वो भी हॉस्टल के अंदर। उनका हॉस्टल काफी
नहीं
बड़ा
नहीं
है।
हॉस्टल के बाहर जाते हैं वो है ना
वो
अच्छा
दोस्त।
वो
भी
यार ये जो हमारी यूनि
दोबारा
वाले जा
शिफ्ट हो
रहे हैं
जाएंगे।
हॉस्पिटल, तुम
हाँ, ये
पूछो
क्या
अली,
सीन है?
तुम भी चक्कर लगाओ वहां जाओ।
और यार उसने कहा था वो एलमैन, क्या नाम है, इलॉन मस्क जो है पड़ा, क्या नाम है उसका, वो वो टेस्ला का मालिक कहता है कि तुझे बुलाऊंगा, फिर बाद में उसने कुछ बताया ही नहीं है।
मुकर गया बाद में, तू कौन है? तू कौन है?
हॉस्पिटल है ना,
तू कौन है?
हॉस्पिटल है ना, कोई डॉक्टर है ना उसमें।
तू
हाँ
कौन
यार
है?
बस ठीक है, बीबी चेक करने देंगे ना।
नहीं अपना बंदा लेके जाना पड़ेगा साथ जिसका चेक करना हो।
चल कोई बात नहीं, एक दूसरे की नब्ज चेक करते रहेंगे।
यार
चल
इन्हें
ठीक
ले
है।
गए हैं कम
बुखार
से कम
चेक
यार,
करेंगे
तुम ना
थर्मोमीटर से।
यार तुम लेकर जा रहे हो, तुम ना एक यूनिक अच्छा इमेज बनाओ, ठीक है? उन्हें ले जाओ तो उनके लैब कोर्स को इस्त्री करवाओ यार, इतनी गंदी गंदी तस्वीरें पेजों पे डाली हुई है हमारी यूनिक की, और फिर उसे ना प्रमोट भी किया हुआ है, स्पॉन्सर किया हुआ है यार, कमाल किया इन लोगों ने।
बस यार हॉस्पिटल से घर
ब्रो
से
वो नेचुरल लुक
चाहे
देते हैं ना असल में
चाहे वो अली हॉस्पिटल से घर से, चाहे वो 1.5 इंच का है, ऐसा मर्जी है हॉस्पिटल है
इस डोंट बैटरी में ना
तेरा है।